Malorian, Orc Tactical Team again, and we're going to continue our series with the brand new book. And since we covered war bosses last time, we're going to go to the next most critical thing, which is going to be your BSB. Now, the BSB in the last book was pretty simple. Either give it, the Mork Spirit Totem, or you just give it a really good save. You make it a Black Orc because the Black Orc bypassed the whole, old character BSBs could not have great weapons, and off you go. Well, things change greatly in this book. First of all, because the Mork Spirit Totem doesn't really exist anymore. It's just, it's still kind of there, but they changed it so that now it's Mork's War Banner. It has D6 magic resistance, and it shuts down all magic items in base contact. So, huge change there, and also a huge points change. And the last thing also is that any character can now, BSB can take a great weapon. We're just like any of the other current books where you can take this other gear, it's no big deal. So all of a sudden there's no need to make this guy a Black Orc. And the great thing there too with that is that the Black Orcs, they cost more. If you're to have a regular, just trying to make sure I'm getting you guys right stuff. The Black Orc Big Boss is a full 35 points more than a regular Orc War Boss. And like I said before, you can do a lot with these points. And really, you are not getting a lot for that. Sure, you're getting kind of like a free upgrade with the light armor to heavy armor. You're getting the Quell Animosity and one better weapon skill. But let's be serious here. I mean, weapon skill 5 is usually good enough. You're really typically more protected by your toughness rather than your armor save with these BSBs anyway, unless you take some sort of magic armor, which is bypassing their regular armor anyway. So I think the days of the Black Orc War Boss is pretty much gone. Unless you want him to be babysitting your shaman or something to make sure that animosity doesn't shut down your magic phase, I think the Black Orc War Boss is just totally toast, right? If you ever want to do something with a great weapon, just put on a regular Orc War Boss. Why not, right? Another thing is, if you want to make that even cheaper, why not go with a regular Goblin War Boss? You can still give him a great weapon. He's still going to be having strength 6 attacks. He's still going to be having 3 attacks. If he's in a unit with Night Goblins with nets, he's going to be toughness 5 still, same number of wounds, but the only thing is that now he's 25 points cheaper again. So I think the name of the game here is going to be just trying to make him as cost effective as possible. If you are wanting him to make a killing machine, sure, just give him a great weapon, give him the Silvering Steel for a straight 2+ save, off you go, right? And there's no reason to be spending tons of points. It's just really the only thing you have to be thinking of is where you're going to be putting him in your front lines, like whether your front line is a Goblin one or not. And even then, you could be thinking that if your front line is going to be mainly Goblins, so you're wanting to use a 20 mil base, well, you could always go with an Orc one anyway. He'll go to the edge, which will be a problem if you'd ever want to move out of the way for challenges. But then again, usually BSBs, you're trying to protect him anyway, and with nets, he's kind of toughness 6, which would be awesome. So it's all about how you want to kind of be dealing with that. And then, of course, if you're going to be having him in your bunker, hiding in the back, then there's no reason to give him anything fancy at all. Just make him the cheapest one, Night Goblin War Boss, throw him in the back, done, right? Now, if you want to actually try out some banners, like I said, that Mork Spirit Totem is gone, but we have a couple of other interesting ones you could play around with. To begin with, like I said before, a great one is that Banner of Discipline, right? Just to try and boost up your War Boss. It can make a Goblin War Boss just have the same leadership as an Orc one, or it can make an Orc one just as good as Gorbad. So, that could be a great way to go if you want to have get past some leadership issues. Now, I said that new Mork War Banner, what's that exactly? Yeah, Mork's War Banner is now double the cost of the old Mork Spirit Totem. Now, the D6 magic resistance, pretty useless. A lot of stuff you see, you don't ever really even get a save against it. So that's not a really big deal. However, the big thing here is the other one, that all the magic items that are in base contact with the bear do not work. And the big thing here is that this is also enemy models. So what you can do with this is, if you're ever against whatever army that has a very critical magic items, this could be, you know, some Chaos Lord or Vampire Lord, or something that has really crazy weapon, right, that's going to be so deadly against you. Or if you're against a dwarf that has really great runic armor that you just can't get past because he's so tough. Well, when you go in, this guy's going to shut him down. There's also all the support things that they can shut down. If you're up against the Vampire Regen banner, boom, shut down, nobody has regen. If there's a guy with the Crown of Command that makes everybody stubborn, boom, shut down. You know, so there's a lot of things here. You can even pair him with your war boss, so that when you're going in and you're going to be doing the challenge, they're still going to be in base to base. The war boss is going to be fighting him, but the BSB is going to be making all of his magic items go disappear, not take any effect. So that can be amazingly helpful, give you a huge boost, and even some of the greatest other characters out there, if they don't have their items, they're toast. They're in big trouble. You're just going to kill them easily with your other war boss. However, this is a lot of points, and so you have to make sure that it is in a very good situation. So you have to really look at your metagame, the usual people you play against, to know whether that's going to be worth it or not. And you know, it's going to be hard to say. If nothing else, it'll be something good to maybe try once or twice, just to see how it goes. Some other things you might want to try for these magical banners. You might want to try the one that gives the flaming attacks, you know, the eternal flaming one from the regular book. You might want to be trying actually, if you're going with some of your goblin ones, you might want to try some of the goblin banners. There's one for each. There's a spider banner for the regular goblins, and there's the bad moon banner for the night goblins. Now, first of all, BSBs usually have the problem, if they're goblins, that they're gonna die. You know, people go in and kill them easily. Well, like I was saying in my last report, with the new Skulkers, you can now push them back to the second rank when those guys pop up, and they don't even have a chance to attack them at all. So you can be making so it's even totally impossible for these guys to be hurt. And looking at some of these, you know, the Bad Moon banner, this one here, the first thing is usually pretty useless. You know, it makes you stubborn. Usually when you're a goblin unit, you're going to be steadfast anyway, but hey, you know, if it gets down to it and you're getting your butt kicked, it still will keep you in the game. The big one is the second one, where it counts as in soft cover. So if you're up against a lot of shooting armies, you want to keep your unit with your main characters good and safe. This is a guy that can do some overall protection. And then when they charge you, they have to take difficult terrain tests. But that's only if they're in base to base. So if you want to really take advantage of that, you have to keep them in the front rank. And so I can see maybe having it so if you're being attacked by elite units, then you can be killing them off. But then again, elite units are going to kill your BSB. So for that secondary part, and like for the first part, I don't really see that being the big thing. The big thing here is just that soft cover from lots of shooting. And that's, again, a metagame thing, which all depends. Is your big opponent, you know, Dark Elves or Wood Elves or something like that, just has a bunch of little shooting. The other one, the Spider Banner, that's the one where it gives a unit poison attacks, and if you already have poison, it goes to a 5+ instead. If you have this in a unit of your goblins, then all of a sudden you could be getting, with all these attacks, you know, say if you gave them spears or something, if those were all poisoned, even though they're just strength 3, you could be kind of adding up and doing a lot of damage. And if he's hiding in the back, then why not, right? Just throwing that banner to make him a little bit more deadly. As well, it passes on, so I mean any characters that are in there as well are going to be getting this as well. So you could be getting some double synergy going on. So this is a unit of night goblins, so that first these characters are basically +1 toughness, and they're getting poison attacks from this. The only thing is, you know, when you start thinking of how you could really optimize this, going say like a horror unit of spears or a big unit of archers, right? The problem is that once you go big like this, it gets a lot more difficult to hide this BSB, because with that Skulker's trick, you just need to have a frontage of 5. So unless you're going to be doing something where you have a frontage of 5 to begin with, having him start in the second rank and then reforming, and so then keeping him in the second rank even though there's other normal models in the front, which is by Raw. But then you're playing around a lot, you're losing your movement. If you're going with the Archer's way, you're losing shooting. So it's one of those ones where it could work with synergy with your characters, but you're really going to have to kind of play with it to see if it ever works. But at least it's something that's possible out there. In the end, what I would do with it is keep him cheap, put him in your back for the most part, right? Have the bunker, throw him back there. Or if you really need some more punch, then put him on a regular Orc BSB, and then I wouldn't even give him a magic banner for the most part. You know, I would just be keeping things safe if you're doing that. Give him the Silvering Steel for the 2+ armor. Put him with the regular Orcs, and or with Night Goblins for +1 toughness, and just kind of hope it goes best. The problem again too is the main thing here is you need them central. So, whereas you could say you need to add these attacks, usually your war boss is there too that's adding these attacks. So it really depends on how you did the rest of your army. But just to kind of sum these things up again, the ways of the past are kind of over. You don't need to have a Black Orc war boss anymore. You don't need to have the Spirit Totem anymore because you can't actually take it. There's some cool banners out there, but each of them, none of them are really a clear winner unless you're going with the banner of discipline to boost up a Goblin war boss's leadership. And in the end, it's better just to keep them cheap and keep them hidden. So there's this one.